Question and answer time. Work on your game.
DreAllDay.com.
What up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. It is Friday, September 19, 2014. You'll be watching this video on Saturday, September 20th. This is Q&A number 37, where I take questions from the studio audience and answer them live as in I haven't read these questions yet. I'm looking at them for the first time as I make this video. A couple housekeeping things I need to get in order before we get into this. Number one, coaching, training, consulting. I've opened myself up to it. You go to my channel, youtube.com/DreUPT, or just click on my name or my picture right there below this video, whichever side is on. Click on that, take you right to my channel. It's the main video playing right now. You can also go to DreAllDay.com and you'll see the tab up at the top, not the tab, but the link that says coaching, training, consulting. You can just click on that. That's for players, that's for brand builders, that's for YouTubers, anybody looking to expand their business using the internet, using a personal brand, establishing a personal brand, or players out there looking to get their game up, get into college, get into the pros. I'm the guy to talk to. Every single thing I offer as a coach, trainer, or consultant are things I've actually lived in my life, not something I read a book about, not something somebody told me, something I've actually done. So that's how I'm transferring the knowledge. Second thing, as we get into this Q&A, I've heard some complaints from some people bitching to me on Twitter that I didn't answer their question in the Q&A. If I don't answer your question in the Q&A, that's because I did not see it on the list, or you just said something fucking stupid. So if you asked a legitimate question and I didn't answer it, it's because it didn't come up on the list. Now that's either because it got voted down, because you are not connected to Google Plus, I think, which is necessary for your comments to show up, or some other reason. But I reply to every single comment that is on the list, so if I didn't reply to yours for some reason, yours ain't showing up, you need to holler at YouTube and Google Plus to figure out why. But please don't bitch and complain to me. I hate when people bitch and complain. That only force me to block you. It's not going to make me want to help you. Now let's get into the Q&A without further ado. First of all, Jay Shilcutt says, have you ever read Nate Robinson's book? It's titled Heart Over Height, and if so, what were your thoughts? No, I did not read Nate Robinson's book titled Heart Over Height. I doubt that I would. And if I do read a book, you'll see it on my website. I have a page called Books I Read. It's under the About section. So if I ever read any book, you'll see it listed there. You'll see me talk about it there. Any books I read in the last 3 years, I always post a review there. Now, there are a bunch of books I read that are not there, but they were read like way before I even had my website looking the way that it looks. So anything else I read will be there. So if you don't see it there, I didn't read it. Tommy Canless says, do I prefer Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole? I'm not a huge fan of either guy. If I had to pick one off the top, I'd say Kendrick Lamar just because I've heard him most recently. ASAP C says, when we see a Raymond Felton hoop handbook? Don't hold your breath for that. Waleed Druche says, what do I think of the FIBA World Cup in Spain? Do I think Team USA is above all teams? Well, what do I think of the FIBA World Cup? Well, it's already over now. We already know the results. Do I think the USA is above all teams? Of course, they won the championship. I think that's what winning the championship means, is that you're above everybody else. Kaliche Achu says, my school's preseason workouts already started, and the coaches will announce the workouts are canceled and still have them, and you need an invitation to play. One of my friends doesn't like the situation, and he was already working out with friends. Says, what do I think about the fact they're lying about canceling? What I think about that the coaches did that? I don't think anything about it, Felicia, because it's not my situation. I don't really care. So if you have a specific question, something I can actually give you, some information I can give you on actionable things you can do, you can ask that. But asking me what I think about this situation that you consider to be unfair, I don't have any opinion at all. So you're going to have to ask me a better question. Shaquem Clark says, Kyrie and D-Wade do these Euro-step moves on a fast break, bringing the ball with a defender, finishing with 2 steps. Do I have any tips on him doing that? And thanks for the Guys and Tips page to help with my confidence. So I'm glad the Guys and Tips page help with your confidence. That's on my website, DreAllDay.com. And you describe the move and then ask, do I have any tips on you doing it? I don't understand that, Shaquem. Why don't you just go do it? What's stopping you from working on it? You've seen them do it, which means you know what it looked like. You already know how it's done because you just described it, so why aren't you doing it? Ball is my life, I said it. Says Dre, what is the worst grade you have in college? Well, I'm not in college. The worst grade I ever had in college was an F. I failed, I think, calculus. I failed calculus like 2, maybe 3 times, but I finally passed it with a D my last semester in college. I'm not, and I'm also not, what's the word I'm looking for? I am not, I can't think of the word that I want to say, but I'm not promoting to any of you to not put your full effort into college. But by that point, I already knew that my life and my business career after college will have nothing to do with anything any of those professors can teach me, because the things I want to get into, they don't teach in school. But that may not be your situation, so don't follow my lead in failing any classes. Do your work, stay in school, don't do drugs. Cole Boucher says, Dre, ever since I started to date my coach's daughter, he's cut my minutes. What can I do to get my minutes back? Well, Cole, talk to the coach. He's the one who cuts your minutes. Rohan James says, I had knee surgery in early June. The doctor said I should be cleared to play in 3 to 4 weeks. What are some things I can do to get the rust off? And tryouts are in October. Do I think that's too soon to play competitively? Well, first of all, if you need to get the rust off, Rohan, you should speak to your doctor, because he's the person who told you how long to sit out. Second of all, do I think it's too soon to play competitively? That's another question for your doctor, because he's the one who told you to sit out. Tyrell Miller says, Dre, I'm 5'7". I've been trying to get more hops. I decided to play on a soccer team. We do a lot of running and stretching. The other day, I noticed I could touch the rim on a 9-feet goal. I think soccer is helping me, considering I haven't been working on my vert. And he wants to get the jump manual also to get hops. So Tyrell, you didn't actually ask me a question, but thank you for sharing that information. You get the jump manual at dreallday.com/jump. Bonafide Bum says, Dre, is dribbling a weighted basketball a good way to work on your handle? I have one. I've used it a few times, but I don't want to use it too much, because obviously they feel noticeably different, and I'm not sure my muscle memory will get messed up if I use a heavier basketball. Your muscle memory is not going to get messed up. Muscle memory is the memory of dribbling the ball. The muscle memory doesn't remember the weight of the ball, it remembers dribbling the ball. Using a heavier ball is just going to make your muscles work harder. It'll actually make you stronger, the same way that lifting weights. If you do curls or something, your biceps are going to be really strong from lifting a 50-pound dumbbell, but when you put the dumbbell down and you have to pick up something that's 25 pounds, it'll just feel lighter. It doesn't mean you forget how to pick something up, does it? That doesn't make sense. That wouldn't happen. So, and you already know that if you look at it in that way, with that analogy. So the weighted basketball is not going to mess up your handle. So if you have one, you might as well use it. Why did you obtain it if you weren't going to use it? And if you weren't sure, why'd you get it in the first place? Young Dynasty says, I'm 5'7", I'm a freshman. I play for my high school JV. I'm quick, but I have no conditioning or stamina. I decided to play soccer to get up my stamina. Will this help? Well, Young Dynasty, if you weren't sure if it would help, why would you join the soccer team? Wouldn't you want to ask that question before you got on the soccer team? And even if you did, since you probably know that I have no affiliation whatsoever to the game of soccer, I'm really not the person to ask. Why don't you ask the coach? I mean, isn't that what they're there for? Or one of the other players? Swaggy J says, how tall were you in high school? I love the channel. Well, Swaggy J, thank you for loving the channel, but I don't know how tall I was in high school. If I was to try to give you a rough estimate, then I'd be lying, so the information would be useless to you. Fresh LB 15 says, Dre, I've been using the TMAC signature workout program that's at hoophandbook.com for those who don't know. Been helping me out tremendously. I've grasped some of these moves so well. I dropped someone at the local park with a behind the back move and a UTEP 2-step crossover. That's a nice combination. He says, I really think this will help me make my high school team. Thanks a lot. Keep it up. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Fresh LB, good luck on making the team. And anyone who wants to get that workout program or any others, that's at hoophandbook.com, NBA signature workouts. 30-day customized programs. Bernard Dedival says, Dre, what's the best program to help increase speed, vertical jump in the shortest amount of time? Well, a lot of players ask me, how can I gain such and such skill? And then they say in a short amount of time, or really fast, or really quick. Well, guess what? Whatever age you are, you've had X number, let's say you're 15 years old. You had 15 years of not doing anything, so now you think you're going to get results quick. You didn't get the no results quick, so how do you think you're going to get results quick? If it was easy and fast and quick to get results of being faster and jumping higher, guess what? You wouldn't need to ask me any questions, because everybody would be doing it. If you want to get better, don't ask me how to do it quick. There is no quick way to do it. And if you want to do it and you're going to put in the work, then I can give you some answers. As far as your athleticism, Bernard, I would say check out the Ultimate Athlete or Position of Power programs at hoophandbook.com. For vertical jump, we got a vertical jump program. If you're looking for a complete, comprehensive vertical jump program, it's a little bit longer and more detailed that you would do only by itself. I would suggest the jump manual, which is at dreallday.com/jump. I'll probably have an annotation for the jump manual up here, and it will also be at the beginning of the video description below. Will Reed says, Dre, I'm 5'6". I play the 3 position. I'm 12 years old. I can touch the backboard. What can I do to increase my vertical and my overall athleticism? Will see my previous answer, Ultimate Athlete and Jump Manual. Sinister Jogger says, Dre, your videos are great. Your message really speaks to me and has helped me understand how to succeed not only in basketball but in life. Thank you. You're welcome. He said, I wanted to ask, he says, are you a grizzly bear? He says, because someone who dunks as ferociously as you could not be a homo sapien. Oh, that's kind of funny. He says, how do you shampoo, being that you don't have a lot of hair? Well, there's a little bit of hair there. How do I shampoo? Same way anybody else would. You still can get dandruff, even if I was to use a razor and shave my head completely bald, which is not, you still get dandruff. Dandruff just comes from the scalp. It doesn't come from the actual hair. It comes from the scalp. Christian Frizzell says, Dre, how can I get sick handles? By working on your game. Ask me a better question than that, Christian. Adrian Soto says, Dre, I love your videos, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. Sometimes when I shoot off the dribble, my hand placement is wrong and it makes my shot fall short, slows it down. Do I have any tips or ways I can prevent this? Work on your handle. I mean, what's stopping you from doing that? I really sometimes don't understand how people ask me, how can I stop from messing up? And they've already basically explained to me in words exactly what they need to work on. Then they ask me, how do they work on it? Go do it. All the stuff that you're talking about, go do it. C. Joy Dempsey says, I'm trying to get taller. Any suggestions? Get a good amount of sleep, eat the right foods, look at my diet and nutrition page, but to actually control the height that you grow, there is no way. If there was a way, there'd be a lot of 8 feet and 10 feet people walking around playing basketball. Jeezy Dog says, Dre, should I be aggressive with my teammates like Michael Jordan or Kobe, or be like Steve Nash, passive and nice? For example, if they fuck up, get into them like Kobe or MJ, or be nice like Nash. Well, Jeezy Dog PSN, nobody can tell you how to handle yourself as a person. You have to be who you are. You can't try to be Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, because you're not Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, and you're also not Steve Nash. You are fill in the blank, whatever your name is. Be who you are. You can't try to be another person because it's going to be fake. Nobody's going to believe you. Your energy is going to be off. Be who you are. Stop thinking about trying to be other people. Elias Money says, Dre, usually when I play ball, they tell me don't think, but it's hard not to think. So I had 2 questions. Is it okay to think sometimes in a game? Do I think sometimes while playing, or am I playing all instinctively? Well, yeah, if someone tells you not to think, of course you're going to be thinking about it, because the brain doesn't know the negation of something. So if I say don't fall up the steps, your brain doesn't, if I tell myself don't fall up the steps, my brain isn't thinking to not fall up the steps. All it remembers is fall up the steps. It doesn't understand the word not. All it understands is what I gave it, which is fall up the steps. It's going to make me fall. Not necessarily, but that's the message that I'm giving to my brain. So telling yourself not to think, you can't tell yourself the negative of something. You want to tell yourself the positive. So if you wanted to tell yourself to stop thinking during games, what you need to say is be instinctive, be reactive, play off instinct. Those are things you want to tell yourself, the positive, the things that you want. Don't focus on things that you don't want. Don't focus on negating what you don't want. Focus on creating what you do want. That's some Tony Robbins right there. But Elias, to answer your question, do I ever think during a game as far as what I'm going to do and stuff like that? No, I don't think. I play off instinct. But I probably have a whole lot more experience than you. I probably spent a whole lot more time on the court practicing and playing than you. So as you increase your experience, you increase your time on the court practicing, you'll get better at playing instinctively. But don't tell yourself not to do something. Tell yourself what you do want to do, and that'll make it better. One Mo Gain 23. He says, how do you play good post defense? I'm a little bit taller and stronger, but they throw me a hook or go up and under, my hands are in their face. It makes no sense. I tried fronting people, but I don't know how to pick him up or go for the steal. What can I do? Well, one more game, explaining how to play defense is not something that really can be done in words, because there are a million different possibilities on the court, and any player you play against, they have all different games. So it's not like I can give you 2 tips that's going to make you be able to stop every player in the history of basketball. The game of basketball is instinctive. It's not like a dictionary where you can just read, all right, this happens, or this happens, you do this, and they do this, you do this. It's not like that. You have to be able to react in the moment. So the fact that you're asking that question means that you need to gain some more experience by playing some more basketball. That's the number one thing that you need to do. It's not about you trying to memorize what to do if this guy does this or that guy does that. Just go play more basketball against players who are scoring on you. Go keep playing against them until you start to figure it out. And ask them. Another thing you can do by the same token is ask the players who are scoring on you, what can you do to play better defense? And they will tell you. So a lot of you players who are having problems against other players, open your mouths and talk to them, and they'll give you information. But you got to open your mouth. Don't wait till you get to YouTube and type all your feelings out on the keyboard when you're talking to me. Talk face to face with the people you have a situation to deal with. You need to deal with it. Deal with the situation head on. Don't be passive about it and come to the internet and talk about it. Be active about it and go to the source of the situation and talk to them, whether that be your coach, whether that be a player on your team, whether that be a player you're playing against. Brandon Diaz says, Dre, do you have any healthy eating programs or videos, tips? Anything, bro. Well, Brandon, see the page on my website that says diet and nutrition. So yes, I have an entire page on that with a bunch of links, and I also have a full playlist of videos on the exact same topic. You can see that on YouTube. You can also see all those videos on that page that I just referenced. That is at dreallday.com. And he says, how do I make my knees, what I have to do to make my knees feel better when I have knee pains? Well, it depends on what kind of pains they are, Brandon. You could try icing your knees, but if that's not really working, you probably need to see a trained professional who can look at knees, not a YouTube commentator, and not even me, because I'm not a trained professional when it comes to pains in the body. Incredible says, does drinking soda make people get fat? Not necessarily. It's actually the sugar in soda that makes people get fat. It's not the act of drinking it that makes you fat. It's the ingredients within. Dmitry Tukovic says, what I think about Serbia's performance at the World Cup. Have I watched the games? It was crazy. I did not watch any Serbian games except the game they played against the USA. They started off really well at the beginning of the first quarter, and then USA killed them, obviously. So I don't have any other opinions on Serbia's performances. I did not watch. Louis says, do I base my shooting form off of anyone? No, I don't. KD 35 MVP says, tryouts are in less than 2 weeks. I didn't make it last year, but I have a chance this year. Thanks for the viz. You helped me become a better player. Well, KD, I'm glad to hear that, and good luck at tryouts. Jay Swift says, I love your viz. Keep them coming. Thank you, Jay. Says, I have a problem. When I'm not nervous, I play great. But when I play in a season game and my hands get cold, I get nervous. How do I get rid of this problem? Jay, see the guides and tips page on my website. I have a couple posts where I write about nervousness and relaxing during games and how to play in games the way that you play in practice. Brad says, Dre, you said that's why you can't play. Brad said something and he said you can't something, and then his sentence didn't make sense. Who's that maniac says, why do people think dunking is so important in basketball? I don't get it. Well, dunking's fun. It's fun to dunk and it draws attention, so I think that's why people want to be able to do it. Alec Count says, what are the benefits of meditation? Well, I'm not an expert on meditation, but I do practice meditation. I do it every day for at least 10 minutes, usually 20 minutes, in 2 10-minute segments. What are the benefits of meditation? It helps clear the mind. It's kind of like a reset button for the mind. Any of you ever use a computer, a laptop or a desktop computer, and you've been using it for a long time and it kind of starts to go slow, and then you close the browser window, you quit out the browser, or you restart your computer and it start running fast again. It's the same thing for your brain. The same way if you're exercising, you have a long day at work or whatever you're doing, and then you take a nap or you go to sleep, you wake up the next day, you got a whole new batch of energy. It's the same thing for your mind. Your mind needs time to rest and recuperate. So meditation gives your mind a chance to clear itself out, not think about anything. It helps relax your mind, and whatever your mind is doing, your body's going to do. So that's just one benefit of meditation, but if you were to actually Google that, you'll find a million pages from a million experts who know a whole lot more than me and who can explain it a lot better than me what the benefits of meditation are. And if you really, really, really want to know what the benefits of meditation are, go and do it. A lot of people leave comments to me, questions to me, emails to me, asking me what are the benefits of doing this, that, and the third. Why don't you just go do it? Most of the stuff you can just do. Why are you talking about it when you can just try it and find out for yourself what the benefits are? I can tell you anything, but that might not be the same experience you have, so you had to go do it and see what works for you. Chris Thomas says, why do point guards use pick and roll so much? And he says, well, Chris, the thing about using pick and roll a lot is that usually teams use pick and roll because it involves everybody. It gets everybody involved. And first of all, it gets two players involved instead of a guy going one-on-one, being that basketball is a 5-on-5 sport. A lot of coaches like to call pick and roll plays, so it's not that point guards just all of a sudden just start wanting to use pick and roll. Point guards use pick and roll. It gets their teammates involved, gives them a chance to get the defense in a compromising position. It kind of depends on how they use it, so it's really hard to generalize and answer that question. And Chris says, when's a good time to call isolation and try to break down my defender? Well, that really depends on your skill level, Chris. It's really not, there's no such thing as when is a good time. It depends on the situation on the floor, your skill level, and what your leeway is as far as what you're capable of doing on your team and what the coach wants you to do. So it's not really like, all right, if it's 2 minutes left in the second quarter and it's 10 seconds on the shot clock and the guy guarding you is 5'8" to 6 feet, you should call isolation. That's not how basketball works. Trayvon Cannon says, Dre, I want to thank you for doing what you do. Well, you're welcome, Trayvon. He says, you motivate me to work out, play ball every day. I haven't played varsity because I keep getting cut. This is my senior year. I have no doubt I'm going to shine. Thank you for the motivation. You'll hear my name in the world of basketball soon. Well, good luck, Trayvon. I got cut every year up to my senior year, too, and I finally made it. So you on track to make it this year? Good luck. Kendrick Gray says, do I think athleticism is all genetics or hard work? It's not one or the other, Kendrick. It's a combination of both. Siraku15 says, when you play overseas, you have enough money to not work when you're back home and focus on your game, but you start working again when back in the States. It's actually been a combination of both for me. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And he says, are there pro leagues year-round just in certain months of the year? There's always a pro league going on somewhere in the world. Depends on what countries you're talking about. For example, in Australia, their seasons are opposite of ours. So when it's summertime here, it's wintertime there. So there's always a league going on somewhere in the world. It depends on what level of league, what country you're talking about. But yes, there's always something. Harry Sherwood says, Dre, I shoot 40% from 3, but I lack sufficient rotation on my shot, so I don't get a decent roll. I don't switch the shot. Do you have any tips or drills to help? Well, if you want to get more rotation on your shot, Harry, you don't get sufficient rotation, which basically means, for those who listen to this question, Harry already knows what sufficient rotation is. So you're not getting it, so why don't you just practice with sufficient rotation so that you do get it? Since you already know what it is, it's not like you have no idea what's missing. You already know what you need to do, so just go do it. If you know what sufficient rotation would be, practice that way, even if you need to slow yourself down, even if you need to deliberately practice, which means you're deliberately thinking about it, which is okay. In order to form a habit, you have to do that. So if I want to form a habit of not biting my nails, I got to think about it for a while. And then it'll get to the point where I'm not even thinking about biting my nails no more because I made it into a habit. So it's the same thing you can do with your shooting. So find what makes it sufficient for you by your definition, practice that way, and then you'll have it done. Nathan Guajardo says, do you know any street ball moves? Well, it depends on what you call street ball, Nathan. That's a very vague question, but I have an entire playlist called Street Ball Moves. Jake C says, did anyone else see Dre hitting the Smush Parker signature skill in his last video? What Smush Parker signature skill is there? I didn't know that existed. Breezy C4 says, what past and present NBA players do you look up to? Michael Jordan's my favorite. Raymond Tarka says, is it bad for someone to play basketball workout while sore? If I made a video on this, could I direct him to it? Well, it's not necessarily a bad or good thing, Raymond. It depends on how your body feels. You have to listen to your body. Some people have higher pain thresholds than other people, and some people have lower pain thresholds. So it's all about what you are capable of doing. It's not about, oh, if you're sore, it's a bad thing for you to work out. Or if you're sore, it's a good thing for you to work out. It doesn't apply to everyone. Each person has their own body. Each person has their own situation. And we all have our own different mindsets, our own thresholds of what we can do and what we can't do. So it's not about it being good or bad for people in general. It's about what works for you. And the only person who knows that is you. Ryan Comito says, I'm loving the new book. The Super You is already hard to put down. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Ryan. For those who don't know, I just put out my 4th book. It is called The Super You. It is available on Amazon at drealday.com/superu. I am going to have physical hard copies of all 4 of my books. Buy a Game, The Mirror Motivation, The Mental Handbook, and The Super You. They will be available very soon. They all will be available on Amazon very, very soon. I just ordered some proofs, so I gotta, which basically means they send me the hard copy so I can look through it and make sure everything is right and looking how it's supposed to. And once I approve the proofs, then I'll be able to have those available for anybody to get. So if any of you who like to actually have the book in your hands and you don't like to read something digitally, I prefer reading digitally nowadays, but any of you who like to have a book in your hands, I know a lot of people who do, you'll be able to get a physical copy of my books coming up very soon. Those will all be on Amazon. You can just go to dreallday.com/Amazon. You'll see all my books and all programs on the website. Joe Brooks says, how many hours a day do you spend playing basketball or training? I get this question like once a week. There is no average time that I don't watch the clock. Speed Blitz 32 Flair says, have I ever read the 48 Laws of Power? Of course, it's my favorite book. Taj Hudson says, Ray Allen Amazon program is still not working. I'm gonna check that out, Taj, and probably put up a new file if it's not working, but I will look at that. Check back. By the time you watch this video, it should already be fixed. So that's it. Those are all the questions for this week's Q&A. Thank you everybody for coming through. Again, the new book, The Super You, if you just go to dreallday/Amazon, you will see all my books that are on Amazon.com right now. Coaching, training, consulting, dreallday.com. Click on the link that says Coaching, Training, Consulting. You'll see not only what I offer and also the packages that you can get and the ways to contact me about each one. I think that is about it. If I didn't get to your question, it's because it did not show up on this list, and I did not purposely ignore your question or omit your question, so don't come bitching to me in any way, shape, or form. That's it. That's all. Work on your fucking game. DreAllDay.com.